need cash to close your deals? Do you know how to find great deals, but you don't have enough money to buy them all?
You need your very own private lender, someone who understands your needs and always has enough cash to make your deals happen fast.
TrueStar Funding is your private lender in Ohio. We have millions of dollars available for professional real estate investors to quickly purchase the best deals, rehab them, and either sell them for terrific profits or turn them into cash flow rental machines.
We'll share our years of experience and help you become even more successful.
At TrueStar Funding, your private real estate investor, we fund houses, apartments, commercial property, and land nationwide. Call me, Brian Stark, today at 216-310-1470. My number again is 216-310-1470. TrueStar Funding, your private real estate lender.
Watch the Urban One Honors January 20th at 8 p.m. on TV One and enjoy a star-studded night celebrating 40 years of Radio One, honoring the biggest names in entertainment and hosted by Kathy Hughes and Chris Tucker.
Hi, this is Chuck Fast Talking Slow Walking Conway Jr. here, reminding you to tune in to 360 Info, the show that features all of your informative news you can use every Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon. Right here on WERE 1490 AM. Remember, 360 Info. All of the information you can use right here at WERE 1490 AM.
I've been a disruptor all my life, and I started this podcast to challenge conventional thinking and stereotypes around the black community and black men. Not all black men are rappers, not all black men are athletes, and most black men are not thugs. If you believe we can change the narrative, if you believe we can change our communities, if you believe we can change the outcomes, then we can change the world. I'm Rob Richardson. Welcome to Disruption Now.
You can find Disruption Now anywhere you listen to podcasts or by going to disruptionnow.com.
You're listening to Brian Stark Live on Cleveland's News Talk 1490 WERE. And now, back to your host, Brian Stark.
Welcome back, folks, to Brian Stark Live. Yes, I'm Brian Stark. We're talking today with Jason Lassiter. He is the author of the recent book, Work 9 to 5 and Flip on the Side. So if you pick up the phone and give us a call at 216-578-1490, he'll have a free copy of that book just for you. Jason, you gave us a couple of ideas before about how to find unlisted properties from motivated sellers, call wholesalers, and call property management companies. How about two more ideas?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. Another way to find them is through estates, auctions, Craigslist, Facebook. There's your local real estate clubs. Driving around in the neighborhood.
Driving for dollars, we call that.
Yeah, driving for dollars. That's just an old way of doing it. I mean, people still do it today, but that's, obviously when you drive around, you see properties that are vacant and, with the grass overgrown.
And Jason, what do you do when you see a property that looks like it could be an opportunity? Do you leave a door hanger? Do you have somebody chase down the address? Do you use a deal machine? What do you use?
So what I use is a private investigator. That's just my way. I mean, some people, you can use skip tracing, but I have a private investigator that I use that helps me get some information on the property.
Some guy with a trench coat and a funky old hat and a lot of coffee stains on his tie.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I do it. And there's software you can use. Skip tracing software can also help you.
Absolutely.
With locating the owners.
Good. All right. Well, that all sounds good. All right. You've given us an awful lot of ways to find motivated sellers. Now, what kind of houses do you find are the best to buy? Do you do, $1 million houses? Do you do low-end houses? I always teach my students to try to be in the fat middle, of the market. I like to do middle-class deals in middle-class neighborhoods where there's a huge population of potential buyers from all areas that can buy that house. But what do you think works best?
For me, I usually do homes between 50 to 100,000. That's usually the range that I'm very good at as far as flipping it quickly and selling it quickly.
So that's a very affordable house. And what market are you in again?
This is the Kansas City area market.
All right,
Kansas City, Missouri.
So 50 to 100,000 is definitely a working to middle class neighborhood. 100,000 is probably the low end of the middle class in Kansas City, right?
Correct.
Got it.
Correct.
So now, are you purchasing and rehabbing for no more than 2/3 of after repaired value?
Pretty much so, yes.
Perfect. All right. So you can buy a house for 30, 35, rehab it for 25, 35, and sell it for 100, something like that.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Now, are you putting extra nice stuff? Like, does a $100,000 house get granite countertops and some pre-owned stainless appliances and some nice ceramic tile? Or do you find that
Absolutely.
Oh.
It all depends. Sometimes I'll use granite, and sometimes I'll just use the countertops that Home Depot carries in stock, which is pretty nice as well.
Those are very nice. Yes.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they have some very nice countertops in stock at Home Depot that you can just buy off the shelf, and then you could just cut it to what you need it to be, with the measurements, and then just have it installed. But it depends on what I'm trying to, the type of house I'm trying to rehab. But typically, I'll use granite countertops on some of my high end homes.
All right, now let's get into something very, very important for listeners who are just getting started. And by the way, folks, pick up the phone and give us a call at 216-578-1490. Our lines are open, and Jason will give you a copy of his book, Work 9 to 5 and Flip on the Side. This is basically your way, folks, to break out, of the daily rat race, the daily struggle, and actually have a side career that can be your main career. For many people who make 30, 40, 50,000 a year, just kind of low to middle class income, you can make more flipping houses than you can make at your job. And so within a couple of years, you can be ready to kiss the job goodbye, have an awful lot more freedom, and actually make more money in less time with less work, and make it when you want, how you want. So if you don't want to work on Tuesday morning because your kid's got some sort of a meeting at school, or you want to go work out with your wife or your husband or your girlfriend on Wednesday at 4, you can do that. If you want to go to a Bible study, or you want to cook dinner, on a Thursday, or you want to listen to my show and be ready to take notes, you can do that. If you don't want to get up and get out of bed one day, you can stay in bed and just decide not to go in till 10 o'clock. And Jason, that's a beautiful thing once people decide to give up the 9 to 5. But at the moment, even you have decided, because you love your work, you're going to stick with it. So here's the key thing that everybody's going to ask me. Well, that sounds great, Brian, that Jason can buy a house for 35 and rehab it for 35 and sell it for 100. But where do I get the 70 grand? All right. So, Jason, give us a few ideas about where they get the money.
Yeah, it's a good question, Brian. So, when I first started,
I had
to
ask good questions.
I'm sorry?
That's my job, to ask good questions. Thank you.
Yeah, so when I first started, I had that same problem. Where am I going to get the money for this property? So right now there's so much private lending going on. There's hard money going on. You can establish some relationships with some of the local real estate clubs, and you can meet some private lenders that have 401ks, IRAs. You can wholesale to raise some money, and I would say use private lenders. I mean, that's what I do. I use private lenders to fund all my deals.
So you use actual private lending companies. You don't use private investors. You use actual companies that are in the business. They're charging you.
I use both.
Okay.
I use both. I use private lenders. Like, I have a friend out of New York, and he works. He's a flight attendant. He works for JetBlue. He's been flying with them for 18 years. But he's a single guy, and he's built up a lot of money. He has no kids, but he has a nice 401k. He's
got it.
And he's a partner with me on some deals because he wanted to get into real estate. And then I also have some other people that have retired, and they want to get involved in real estate, but they want to be on the golf course. So they'll just say, "Hey, Jason, here's the money. Let's do some deals and just pay me some interest." So and I meet so many people with so many different circumstances.
Let me ask you this simple question: what's the lowest interest rate you get from your private investors? How
the
low?
Lowest?
Yeah.
About 5%.
Wow.
5 and 6%.
You're paying 5 to 6% for money. That's crazy. So you would never pay 12 or 13 or 14%.
Heck no.
Wow,
No.
that's crazy. And so how do you even offer
Because
people?
here's the deal, Brian. The banks, if you invest in a CD at your local bank, you're not going to get much money back. I mean, you're not going to get this. You're not going to even make this much money with what I'm paying my investors. So you got to think about it in those terms. You know, what is the bank going to return you? What are they going to give you for investing some money? You know, out of a CD or an IRA or or whatever you
Less
have,
than
whatever,
less than
whatever the bank
1%,
offers.
certainly less than 2%.
Right, exactly.
So you're paying 3 times that much, if not more.
Exactly.
That's
and they're
fantastic.
happy, and I'm happy. They're getting good. They're getting a nice return, and I'm getting a good return.
And
So
do you have
that's
to-
why
do you
they
have to
love
make-
giving me money.
Do you have to make monthly payments, or do you pay all the money when the house sells?
That's the deal. I pay it all when it sells. Sometimes they want it on the HUD statement. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes
Nothing
they
wrong
just
with
want to
that.
be anonymous. You know, they don't want it on the HUD statement. But it all depends. Sometimes investors want it on the HUD. Sometimes they don't. So.
Well, that's a great thing. So you just find people here and there. You meet people along the way. Of course, you only need 2 or 3 guys to fund 8 or 10 deals a year. You don't need
That's all.
a dozen people. You don't need some huge pile of cash available. You just need a few little guys.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Exactly. Once you meet some investors and you're honest and you're truthful and you're reliable, then they'll be more trustworthy and they'll see the return and then they'll want to do more deals with you. So that's
now,
why relationships are important.
Absolutely. So now here comes
And
the next. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I wrote my book. Because it wasn't so much about the book sales. And that's why we're giving away the book, on the radio show here. But it was really about building relationships. That's the reason why I wanted to write the book. I don't care about book sales. I wanted to create relationships with more people, more investors that want to do deals. So that was my goal of writing the book.
Perfect. And that's my goal for being on the radio, because I like to make relationships with folks like you.
Right.
It's great. All right, so the next step, and now people have overcome how to find a deal. They've figured out how to get the money. Now the next question, how in the heck do I find one good guy who's honest enough that if I give him a $10,000 deposit, he's going to do work and then call me for more money, and by the time I've given him $35,000, he's actually done the whole house instead of skipped off, disappeared, gotten drunk, gotten high, gone to jail, or a combination of all of the above?
Well, that first comment, that's the big mistake. You don't give anybody any down. I don't give any of my contractors any down payments. Especially if I'm meeting them in the beginning, I'm not going to give them nothing down because I want to see. I want proof that they're going to be reliable, that they're going to do what they're going to do, that they say they're going to do. So
I hope none of my contracting customers are listening to this, because I always get down payments as a contractor.
Yeah, I mean some of the ones that you may have done business with them and they may need a down payment to keep their crews going, their helpers and everything. And I understand that. I've done that. But in the beginning, when you're first doing business with them, sometimes you may not want to put any money down. You may just want to see what they're capable of doing, if they're going to be honest and reliable.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're going to get burnt. So that's actually in my book. Because you want to make sure that these contractors are going to do what they say they're going to do. So I typically put down as less as possible. I don't put a lot of money down when they're first starting out. And then I'll each week I'll give them a draw, and they give me an invoice. I'll pay them accordingly from with the line items that they completed, in the property, and I'll pay them that way. But I rarely give them a lot of money up front. I just don't do that.
That's pretty wise. And you still find that you can get good contractors to do good quality work and show up and do what you need to have done?
Absolutely. And I'm going to give you a very good tip right now, a very good tip. One property I had, so this property had a whole lot of trash in the yard. I mean, overgrown trees, tires, trash, it looked terrible. And I was getting these quotes.
Great.
I was getting these quotes to remove all the trash and mow the grass. and cut all the weeds that were like 5 feet high. So one guy said, "Oh, I'll do it for $900." Another guy said, "I'll do it for $1,300." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to post an ad on Craigslist, and I'm going to put $200 for this job."
Wow.
Do you know that my phone was ringing off the hook? I got over 60 calls, and I had to shut down the ad. And a guy met me over there. They did it for $200, and this guy's been wanting more work from me. We've developed a good relationship, and all these people still call me for work. All those 60 people that called me from that ad. There's just a lot of people that want work these days, and they were so much willing to go to that house and cut down all that grass and clean it up, and for just $200, where other people wanted to charge me $900, $1,000 or more. And the relationships that I've made just from that Craigslist ad was just, it was just awesome.
I will say, I will say, you have to have a good electrician, you have to have a good plumber, you have to have good carpenters. But when it comes to things like scraping and cleaning up junk and tearing out stuff, man, you can get guys in markets like Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Philly and places. You can get guys for $10, $11, $12 an hour all day long. And if you have somebody keeping an eye on them, they'll do plenty of work. You don't have to pay people hundreds of dollars to clean up a yard at all. Yeah,
exactly.
Very good.
I just couldn't believe where my phone. I had to bring the ad down. I had to shut the ad. It was just amazing. It was amazing.
Good for you. That's fantastic. So you find that you can find plenty of good contractors. And then how do you sell your houses? Let's talk about that for a minute. And the reason I'm kind of going through the whole process is because I want us to talk about your revolutionary invention in the last segment of our show a little bit. We're going to take a break in another minute. But do you sell your houses using realtors? Do you sell them by owner? Do you sell them on lease option, land contract? What do you do?
So this is where the realtor does come in play. I like realtors. This is where the realtor comes. I do use realtors to sell my homes because I work the 9 to 5 and I don't have time to show homes, and it's boring for me to show homes. So I'd rather utilize the realtor to show the home, get all the paperwork done. Matter of fact, I just had I had a property. It was a small flip, and we used a realtor. She was able to sell the house the first week. She got it under contract for us.
Fantastic.
And we're closing at the end of this month. So we were able to sell that home within 3 months.
That's great.
It was a quick deal.
Really fantastic.
That's where the real estate agent comes into play. They do their job very well as far as selling. But you have to find a very good realtor. You have to have a good realtor.
And you don't try to skimp on their fee or get them to take less money or any crazy stuff like that, right?
No, as long as they're effective, as long as they're able to, make the sale from me, I'm happy with them, and I'll continue using them over and over again. That's the main thing, is to get the house sold at the price that I want it sold.
Yep. That's a beautiful thing. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want you to talk with us about your new safety and security device. Give us a little insight now what it is, because this can revolutionize the realtor industry, revolutionize safety for children going to school, revolutionize safety for women in all kinds of environments, even for men, of course. Tell us a little bit about this fantastic device that you've invented.
Yes, with all the things that are going on in the world right now, I think it's one of the best products right now on the market, that will be on the market. It's a product, it's a belt buckle. It's a unique, discreet belt buckle with a panic button. And basically, if you have a child or an elderly person that's being bullied, or an elderly person that has Alzheimer's, or you're just worried about that individual, if they're in a duress situation, they press that panic button, and then the loved one, through an app, is able to see real-time GPS and video of that person wearing the belt.
That's huge. That's huge. All right, we're going to talk about that in a minute and talk about some of the applications for it. The name of the belt buckle is?
Smart Belts.
Smart Belts. B-E-L-T-Z or S?
Z.
Smart Belts. Great. All right, folks, pick up the phone and give us a call at 216-578-1490. We'd love to hear from you, and Jason has a copy of his new book, Work 9 to 5 and Flip on the Side, for all of our callers. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Jason Lassiter. I'm Brian Stark. This is Brian Stark live on News Talk, 1490 AM WERE.